Mobile technology is literally all around us, and that's not only including cell phones. Mobile simply means able to move freely or easily, while technology is the application of scientific knowledge for a practical purpose. With that in mind, there are clearly existing mobile devices that are not cell phones. For example, we have the iPod, the Sony PSP, the Nintendo DS, field recorders, and even the laptop, to name a few. There are so many mobile technologies at our disposal that we've grown accustomed to, we sometimes forget what life would be like without it. Some people in the world would have absolutely no idea what life would be like without mobile technology whatsoever. Mobile technology has drastically changed the way we work, the way companies advertise, and the way we shape our sense of self. The concept of work, which includes both schoolwork and industry work, has indeed been impacted by technology. David Nye explains in his book Technology Matters that now millions of people hold jobs that did not exist 150 years ago in industries created around new technologies, such as computing, musical recording, broadcasting, design, advertising, and research and development. Nye goes on to explain that while technology does remove the need for workers to perform routine jobs, it also creates new jobs where new skills are needed that also pressures the worker into performing well. These new jobs that are created by technology require as much imagination as it does skills. Jobs like graphic design and advertising obviously require imagination, but even jobs like computing require an imagination. There are several ways to make a piece of software accomplish a task. Terms like programming art have been invented when a programmer thinks of a unique way of making software do what it needs to do. But how does mobile technology play into this field? Let's take the field of musical recording or audio engineering as an example, which also happens to be my discipline and area of expertise. Nye also described a type of worker called a symbolic analyst. These are usually well-educated professionals who love their jobs and even when away from the office never really leave it behind. Their mobile phone is always at hand, their portable computer is always on. There is certainly no shortage of these kinds of people in the music industry, especially in the field of audio. Mobile technology has made it possible for these people to be able to work anywhere. With the availability of laptops and small audio interfaces, musicians don't need to go to a huge studio in order to record. Producers and engineers often have a mobile rig, or in essence, a portable studio. The advantage of this is that the artist or musician will not have to pay the sometimes outrageous fees charged by a big studio, and can simply pay a single person for his or her services. The engineer would simply go to a rehearsal studio, or even the artist's house, or vice versa, set up a laptop, plug in the interface, set up a mic, and hit record. The recording may or may not suffer in quality, but post-production can be used to fix the recording. So what other advantages does this give the engineers and musicians? What this means for musicians is that a studio is now affordable. They can buy equipment themselves, learn how to use it, and get their music to the masses. For engineers and producers, it means that they can experience more of a freelance kind of work and not a 9-to-5 routine. Though, many of the people I've come to know in this field work at a studio and do freelance on the side. But the fact remains that the option is there and they have more freedom in their work. Without mobile technology like laptops and cell phones, a freelance, portable studio kind of engineer would not be able to do what he or she loves from the comfort of his or her own home, or that of a client's.
And the reason why you have this multiple initiatives, but particularly this Android project, which we don't want to go into the technology of it all, but which is a way of promulgating a platform on which others can develop applications. The reason for that is what? Why does that benefit Google?
Well, from a purely tactical perspective, Google will make money from advertising in the mobile net, and we are working with a number of people, including our competitors, to standardize the advertising standards and things like that. And it seems obvious that advertising, which works so well on the traditional internet, should also work well on mobile internet. After all, they know where you are. So I'm driving along, it says, Eric, you had pizza yesterday, there's a hamburger stand on the right, turn right. And then you press the off button on the phone to turn the thing off because it drives you crazy. But in theory, this sort of location-based advertising will be a very, very good business and useful to end users, which is how we make decisions.
The CEO of Google mentioned a type of advertising called location-based advertising. This is a very interesting way to advertise and takes advantage of many features of a cell phone. New cell phones, for example, have GPS in them, so people know where you are. He also mentioned that the phone would know where you ate last and would send an ad about where to eat depending on that purchase. So assuming you used a credit card, And assuming it's the same credit card you use to pay the phone bill, an effective advertisement can be made. In essence, the ad companies look for patterns in your purchases so they can effectively send advertisements your way. In William Gibson's pattern recognition, one of the major themes involves the natural tendencies to search for meaning while actually finding patterns in meaningless data. Followers of the seemingly random clips seek connections and meaningfulness in them, but are revealed to be victims of apophenia, as the clips are just edited surveillance camera footage. This new style of advertising will certainly be interesting because it's almost like a personalized, custom made commercial. But what's not clear is who will be doing the pattern recognizing. Will it be a complex algorithm that somehow takes all of your recent purchases and visits and calculates what you like? Or will it be human, who might actually have the same taste as the person they're analyzing? It's really hard to tell right now since this new style of advertising is still in its infancy. But it will be very interesting to see how this will play out.
Yeah, I think I was on a governor's panel the other day, and one of the IT governors said that he didn't think anybody would watch anything long form on the screen. But if you had said to me 2 years ago that somebody would write a novel on a cell phone and sell it, I would have laughed at you. The truth is, there's a generation out there right now that will do all these things on this phone, and the iPhone screen is a better size.
That's happening specifically in Japan now. Yeah.
Yes, but young people are young people. The one thing about the mobile world is they can create their own environment away from parents, and they will inhabit that world and direct it. When people say content is king, it's not true anymore. Customer is king. The young customer will take the mobile world and we'll build a Bravia screen, we'll make it bigger, or we'll use a PSP, or we'll find a way to get at them. But everything will be done on that mobile device. Everything will be done on it. And they'll create their own clubs and worlds and so forth. So it's going to change, and Jeff and I will have to adapt content to it and create new content to it. You know, minisodes, you've heard about those, where we create brand new content, serial content, extended soap operas of 3 minutes apiece, and so forth. It's pretty exciting.
Well, and a lot of
The CEO of Sony mentioned the fact that a lot of new content needs to be made for the young people. Howard Stringer made it clear that young people will be able to create their own environment away from their parents and inhabit that world and direct it. This could even be the beginning of the Fab 5 campaign by T-Mobile. By the way, this conference is from 2007. It's very clear that the higher-ups of the industry believe that mobile technology provides a different world for young people and connects them even more. In The Saturated Self by Kenneth J. Gergen, Gergen concludes that the technological achievements of the past century have produced a radical shift in our exposure to each other. As a result of advances in the telephone, satellite transmissions, computers, and more, we are exposed to an enormous barrage of social stimulation. With more and more young people receiving cell phones, they are more connected to each other than ever before. This does seem to correspond more with society than it does with the self, but it's still shaping and molding the young people. It's teaching certain technological skills that will certainly come in handy for the future. They can receive jobs, help out people who don't know about the technology, and maybe even create new technologies. It was David Nye who said, "Invention is the mother of necessity." With all these new technological advancements, we will only need newer things to keep them running. These young people are only learning more and more about technology, and it's starting to become second nature to them. Another thing I found interesting was that Stringer listed a few devices that could appeal to young people, and all of them were indeed mobile devices. It seems that mobile technology is appealing to young people more and more because of just that. It's mobile. Young people do tend to be out of a house a lot, especially when they're in school, and a mobile device is the perfect way for them to keep in touch with everything and everyone. It almost gives them their own identity. A phone number to call their own, an email address to call their own, and a screen name to call their own. These are only a few details in exactly how and what mobile technology is affecting. Mobile technology is indeed the way the world is turning, and in return, the world is adjusting quite nicely.